Shane, he says, are you a great American? I said, well, the first question I was going to ask you was, do you love America? Because many of you know that I do this. Do you love America? And I got to thinking about his question. He wasn't asking me, do you love America? He says, are you a great American? And this is really, I know it was in jest, but it's really critical to understand the distinction. There's a lot of people out there that say they love America, but they're awful Americans. Right? You can say you love your child, but you can be an awful parent. Right? Yeah. It's the same thing. Do you love America? You can say that you love America, but you can be an awful American in that you don't stand for the principles. You aren't the force on the front lines protecting liberty, because liberty has to be defended. The Constitution has to be defended. The Constitution will not defend itself. It cannot defend itself. It requires people. If we believe in this idea of self-governance, it means that the people must protect this thing if it is going to stay alive and well. What most Americans believe about the Constitution is quite frankly wrong. What most Americans believe freedom is quite frankly wrong. Right? So what we're talking about is not just an election cycle battle, because what you're talking about in very real terms is an election cycle battle. Right. You're talking about, Ed, though, in your heart and your mind, I've talked to you enough to know that you're talking about an educational battle that must take place. Yes. That's going to take time, right? Because you have and you guys have got to go back to your Tea Party groups, your Republican clubs, your conservative clubs, and you've got to set them straight, because they believe the leadership. I'm painting with a broad brush now. I'm just telling you about my interaction, painting with a pretty broad brush. The idea is, though, that the election cycle battle is the most important thing that needs to be won. Right? And I've shared with you, if I mentioned to you this person's name, every single one of you in this room would recognize it. He's a leader here in Arizona. I went to dinner with him with about 6 other people. We sat down and he says, Shane, you're running this academy, you talk about all these great ideas. I just have one question for you. Can you turn this country around in 9 months with the information that you're offering? And I laughed. I said, you're crazy. You're not joking, are you? No, I'm serious. I said, you're crazy. You're talking about a problem that took 100 years plus to create, and you think you're going to turn around this Titanic in 9 months? We're fighting different battles. You're fighting an election cycle battle. I'm fighting a battle for the hearts and minds of Americans. Getting them to be able to articulate the things that they need to be able to articulate. And we go back to, I love America, but I'm an awful American. Right? The bottom line is that Americans need to once again be able to articulate the principles of freedom that we used to be able to articulate